The air in Genoa City felt charged long before anyone understood why. Sally Spectra stood in the dim glow of the Grand Phoenix hallway, her heart pounding louder than the soft jazz drifting from the lounge downstairs. Billy Abbott was too close. Again, he always found a way to stand just inside her orbit as if gravity favored chaos. "You don't have to pretend with me," Billy murmured, his voice low, steady. Sally tried to respond with wit, with sarcasm, with the carefully constructed armor she wore like couture. Instead, she kissed him. It wasn't soft, it wasn't tentative. It was the kind of kiss that reopened doors both of them had nailed shut. When they finally pulled apart, her breath was unsteady. "This doesn't fix anything," she whispered. "No," Billy agreed, "but it reminds us." What it reminded Billy of was complicated, because while he was rediscovering something electric with Sally, his brother's life was quietly imploding. Across town, Jack Abbott was being held in a cold, windowless room. No clock, no phone, just a single chair and the faint hum of overhead lighting. Victor Newman stood outside that room hours earlier, his expression carved from granite. "You took what was mine," Victor had said calmly to Billy during their last confrontation. "Chancellor belongs to my family. Now Jack was the price." Victor's message was simple and brutal: surrender Chancellor and Jack walks free. When Diane Jenkins Abbott found out, the Abbott mansion nearly shook from the force of her outrage. "He kidnapped my husband," Diane snapped, packing the living room. "This is not a boardroom maneuver, Nikki, this is criminal." Nikki Newman stood rigid, her face pale but controlled. "Victor believes he's protecting the Newman legacy." "By abducting someone," Diane shot back, "talk to him, make him see reason, because if Jack is harmed—" "He won't be," Nikki interrupted sharply, though doubt flickered in her eyes. "Victor would never cross that line." Diane leaned forward. "You'd better hope you're right." Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott chose a different battlefield. If brute force wouldn't work, perhaps influence would. He met Claire Newman at Crimson Lights, his tone urgent. "You're the one person Victor might listen to," Kyle said. "You've surprised him before." Claire studied him carefully. "You want me to convince my grandfather to undo a kidnapping?" "Oh yes. You're asking me to betray him. I'm asking you to stop him." Claire stared into her coffee, weighing loyalty against morality. Victor Newman was many things, predictable was not one of them. Elsewhere, Kane Ashby was spiraling in his own brand of desperation. Phyllis Summers had ignored his calls for days, avoided him at society, pretended not to see him at the athletic club. Kane didn't handle invisibility well. So he staged something outrageous. A public interruption, a grand gesture, a declaration loud enough to echo through every gossip circle in town. Philly's face burned with fury as Kane cornered her during a crowded evening event. "You think humiliating me will make me listen?" she hissed. "I think getting your attention is better than losing you," Kane shot back. "You don't own me." "No," Kane said quietly, "but I'm not done fighting for you." Across town, another fight was escalating. Nick Newman stared at the burner phone in his hand. The message was short, taunting. "You think you're hunting me? Think again." "Matt Clark." Sharon stood beside Nick, her expression tense. "It's him." "He wants us nervous," Nick replied. Matt had always thrived on psychological warfare. He didn't just commit crimes, he orchestrated fear. And now he was watching them. What Nick didn't realize was that Matt had already anticipated his move. The trap Nick set had been obvious, too obvious. Matt sent another message. "Nice try, next time be smarter." Nick's jaw tightened. Sharon touched his arm gently. "He's escalating." "He's daring me." Miles away, Noah, Newman, and Sienna Bacall drove down a quiet stretch of road, unaware they were being followed. Matt liked leverage. And young love made excellent leverage. As the week unfolded, Jack's captivity grew harsher. The isolation wore at him, no communication, no proof of life sent to his family. Victor was applying pressure through silence. Billy refused to surrender Chancellor, not yet. "He can't bully us into submission," Billy told Kyle. "That's not a strategy," Kyle argued, "that's ego." At Newman Enterprises, Devin Winters and Nate Hastings were dealing with a separate crisis. Lily Winters and the twins had vanished from contact. Devin's patience was thinning. "This isn't normal." Nate frowned. "You think this connects to Victor?" "I think nothing in this town happens without ripples." And then Nate uncovered something unsettling. Victoria Newman had known. She'd been aware of Victor's broader plan, and she'd said nothing. When Nate confronted her, the silence between them said everything. "You chose him," Nate said quietly. "I chose my family," Victoria replied. Over us. Victoria didn't answer. That silence cracked something fragile between them. Meanwhile, Christine Blair Romalotti prepared for battle in a courtroom instead of a boardroom. Mariah Copeland sat across from her, hands trembling. "They're going to make me look like a monster," Mariah whispered. Christine leaned forward. "They're going to make you look unstable, there's a difference." The charge was severe, the abduction of Dominic Winters. Christine's strategy was precise: argue mental health intervention instead of incarceration. "You need treatment," Christine said gently, "not a prison cell." Mariah swallowed hard. What if they don't see it that way? Then I make them. As mid-March approached, the courthouse buzzed with anticipation. Cameras, reporters, speculation. And somewhere else in Genoa City, a familiar, chilling laugh echoed through a hospital corridor. Patty Williams was back. Her eyes glittered with unfiltered emotion as she whispered to herself, "I've missed this town." She always did return when chaos bloomed. And chaos was blooming everywhere. Nick received coordinates the following night. Las Vegas. Adam Newman stood in the Newman office doorway when Nick made the call. "You're not going alone," Adam said. Nick hesitated, then nodded. Two brothers, one mission. Matt Clark had left a trail, and he wanted them to follow. Las Vegas glittered like temptation and danger wrapped in neon. Nick and Adam landed under the pretense of business, but their focus was singular: find Matt before someone else got hurt. "He's playing with us," Adam muttered as they stepped onto the strip. "He always does," Nick replied, "but he slipped, he left breadcrumbs." Back in Genoa City, Jack's strength was fading. Days in confinement blurred together. He refused to beg, refused to show weakness, but Victor's silence was strategic cruelty. Victor watched from afar, convinced he was preserving legacy. Nikki confronted him in his office. "You've gone too far. I've done what was necessary. You kidnapped a man." Victor's eyes hardened. "I protected my family. And if this destroys it..." For a flicker of a second, uncertainty crossed his face, then it vanished. At the Abbott mansion, Diane clung to resolve. "He'll come home," she whispered to herself. Claire visited Victor that evening. "Grandfather," she began carefully, "this isn't strength, it's retaliation." Victor studied her. "You think I don't know the difference? I think you're proving Billy right." That struck deeper than she expected. Meanwhile, Mariah's trial began. Christine stood tall before the judge, outlining Mariah's deteriorating mental state at the time of Dominic's abduction. This was not malice, Christine argued. This was untreated psychological trauma. Devon watched from the gallery, conflicted, hurt, protectives. The courtroom felt suffocating. Then Patty Williams appeared in the psychiatric wing where certain evaluations were conducted. She locked eyes with Mariah in passing. Recognition flickered. Two fractured minds, one building. Patty smiled faintly. Back in Vegas, Nick and Adam tracked Matt to a high-end casino suite. They entered cautiously. Empty. Then the phone rang. "You're predictable," Matt's voice purred through speaker. "Show yourself," Nick demanded. "I already have, you just haven't realized where." A video feed flickered onto the television screen. Noah and Sienna. Bound. Nick's blood ran cold. "You hurt them." "I haven't," Matt interrupted, "yet." Adam stepped forward. "What do you want?" "Control." The line went dead. Back in Genoa City, Nate confronted Victoria again after confirming her silence about Victor's plan. "I can't build a future with someone who hides truth," he said. Victoria's composure cracked. "You think loving this family is easy?" "No," Nate replied, "but it shouldn't cost us everything." In captivity, Jack heard footsteps. The door opened. Victor entered. "Has Billy reconsidered?" Jack asked hoarsely. "Not yet." Jack met his gaze steadily. "Then you've already lost." Victor left without responding. But doubt was spreading. In Vegas, Nick and Adam followed digital traces to a warehouse near the outskirts of the city. Inside, tension snapped tight. Noah and Sienna were there. So was Matt. The confrontation was explosive. "You ruin lives and call it strategy," Nick shouted. Matt smiled. "You call it family loyalty, we're not so different." Adam moved first. The struggle was chaotic, brutal. But in the end, Matt was subdued. Police sirens wailed in the distance. As he was dragged away, Matt laughed. This never ends, he promised. Back in Genoa City, Victor received the news. Matt was caught. Nick and Adam were safe. Jack's captivity no longer served purpose. Victor ordered his release. When Jack finally stepped into the Abbott mansion again, Diane ran to him. The relief was overwhelming. At the courthouse, the judge delivered a preliminary ruling. Mariah would be remanded for psychiatric evaluation pending final sentencing. Not prison. Treatment. Christine exhaled slowly. It wasn't victory, but it was hope. In the psychiatric facility hallway, Patty Williams watched as Mariah was escorted inside. Patty tilted her head, fascinated. New friend, she whispered. And somewhere in Genoa City, alliances were shifting. Victoria stood alone in her office. Nate packed his things. Billy looked at Sally with renewed uncertainty. Victor stared out over the skyline, calculating costs. Nothing was settled. Everything had changed. Genoa City never rested. It recalibrated. And just when peace seemed possible, the next storm gathered quietly at the edges.